Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. So I understand that Adobe released a new updates right before NAB, right?
Yeah, we're really excited about this because in the past we have always shipped an update after NAB. So what we're showing is kind of an early preview of some things to come. So this is the first time ever. I've been working for Adobe for a very long time, and this is the first NAB I've ever worked for Adobe where we have shipped the week before NAB. So it's very exciting.
Is it going to become a norm? I mean, in the future?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
see how this goes.
So let's go through some of the changes and updates in After Effects and Adobe, perhaps Audition?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. We've got some exciting new workflows for motion graphics. So After Effects artists that make motion graphics for Premiere editors, some wonderful new workflows for that. New tools inside of Premiere itself for making motion graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've improved the workflow between Premiere Pro and Adobe Audition to make it easy to make changes to audio in Premiere, but then also push those changes to anybody using Audition for mixing and final sound. We have the best fidelity between the Premiere sequence and the multi-track editing inside of Audition. You don't lose anything in the process. So any temporary sound work that you've done in Premiere, all of that translates over to Adobe Audition. So we can show us some of that.
Sounds good. Let's dive into it.
All right. So we'll start over in Adobe Premiere, and we'll actually touch on some of the sound work first. What we've introduced inside of Adobe Premiere is something called the Essential Sound panel. So if I switch over to my audio layout inside of Premiere, I'm going to go ahead and open up something called the Essential Sound panel. Let's reset this to the saved layout. There we are. And the idea behind the Essential Sound panel, this lets me choose a particular role for the audio. So I can actually choose whether the audio in the timeline is dialogue, music, sound effects, or ambient sound, things like the subtle sounds of wind in the background. And so by doing this, Premiere Pro actually creates and provides a series of controls. So I'll go ahead and select all of my dialogue in this particular shot, and I can assign this to the dialogue role. And by doing that, I have controls specific for dialogue. So things like I can turn on an equalizer and maybe give a little bit of a subtle boost to the audio, enhance the speech. There's loudness controls, so I can just go ahead and click auto match, and this will go through and match up the volume of the different dialogue tracks. So if there's a bit of a jump in the volume between different microphones, this will fix that for you. Now this works the same with different roles. So if I have music tracks, I can select music, and when I click on music, I get some different controls. I can do things like retime music. I can change some different controls. Yeah, there's actually something in here for volume and duration, and the duration controls actually give me some tools for doing things like retiming the audio seamlessly. Now the best thing about this, these are nice simple controls for people that maybe they need to make some adjustments to audio, but they're not audio experts. If you do want to send this sequence over for mixing in Audition, I can right-click on this and say Edit in Audition, and any keyframes, any audio plugins that I've used in Premiere, any settings in the Essential Sound panel actually translate over to Adobe Audition. So we have these new options here that say Transfer Settings. So we don't have to render and bake in the sound effects. We don't have to if we have any third-party plugins in Premiere for audio, as long as those are also installed over in Audition, they'll be editable in Audition as well. Now we're going to also use Dynamic Link to send the video image so that I don't have to even render a video file to send this to audio post-production. So I'll go ahead and click OK on this. You can see it prepares this. Doesn't have to render anything. It just kind of makes sure that everything is locked in. Then it opens up Audition. And this goes through and creates the multi-track. So the names of the different tracks come through, any settings that I've done with the audio, if I come in here and I select some of these dialogue tracks, you can see that they still have the same settings as we had before, but now I've got the full ability to open up additional settings here. I can actually come in if I wanted to, maybe on this particular clip I want to adjust that EQ and I want to use a more advanced function on that. Here I can see that we have a vocal enhancer effect and a graphic equalizer effect, so if I wanted to further adjust this using more complex controls, I have access to those in Audition. And the other big feature, I'm going to switch back to Premiere, and let's jump over to a different timeline here, because I want to talk a little bit about titles. So within Adobe Premiere, if I wanted to work with graphics and titles in the past, we had a titling system inside of Premiere. People liked the title tools in Premiere, but you had to open up a separate window to create them. You had to create them in your project bin first, and if you had hundreds and hundreds of titles, you had hundreds and hundreds of items in your project bin. People wanted something a little bit better, a little simpler. So what we have actually done is created something called the Essential Graphics panel, and we've created a series of new tools inside of Premiere where now, if I wanted to create a new title from scratch, I'll go ahead and delete the one that I have there. All I have to do is select the new Type tool, click on the screen, and start typing. Now, once I've typed something on the screen, I can select that, and using this new panel called the Essential Graphics panel, I can come in here and adjust position, size, opacity. If I want to change the font on this to something different, I can come in here and work with different styles of fonts, change the type, and I can start to play with things like fill and stroke controls, and I can do this directly on the screen in the program monitor. If I wanted to create a shape behind this, I can simply use some of the new shape layer tools, and so within the same title, I could add that's a bright red circle here. I'm going to go ahead and move that down. We'll select that shape. Let's change that color a little bit. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Okay, let's go to a nice blue. That's something that maybe in there. And I could add a little bit of an edge stroke to that. Maybe increase the stroke. And we'll go up and we'll select the title layer. And with that, I can pick this up, kind of move it around, get it positioned within my circle. So I can actually do this type of design work directly on the program monitor. When I'm ready to, I can actually save what I'm working on into what's called a motion graphic template. I can actually save, I can do keyframing. There's controls in here under the effect controls for all of the different properties that can be animated for doing this type of work. And if I save this into a template, it will show up in this new panel called the Essential Graphics panel as well. And Premiere now ships with a whole series of different templates where if I need to work with captions and subtitles, there's actually a wide range of different styles that we can use for creating captions and subtitles within this panel. I can use this to create larger graphics as well. Let me show you like some of the lower third templates here. So I'll just drag and drop one of these. Actually, let's drag and drop it onto the timeline. And the other thing that this will also do is if you have any fonts used in a template that are not locally installed on the machine, Typekit, it will automatically go to the Typekit website, download those fonts, install them for you, so that you don't have to worry about managing fonts as well. As long as you have internet connectivity, it will automatically synchronize whatever fonts are used in a motion graphic template. Now, similarly, If you want to do more advanced work with titles and graphics, you can now save what you're working on here. You can actually copy and paste these text layers over into After Effects to continue to work on the same files over in After Effects. But I'm going to go over to After Effects to just show some examples of some of the motion graphic templates, the work that you can do inside of After Effects now. So if I bring up a motion graphic here inside of After Effects, so this has a series of animated arrows that come into the frame. If I go to my Essential Graphics workspace here inside of After Effects, I have this new panel here for Essential Graphics as well. In After Effects, this is designed to be customized by the motion graphics artist. So if I have a property, like I'm just going to solo the supported properties. We'll go ahead and delete this background tint color here. I'll show you where that is. And I'll just select it and delete it for now. If I want to give the Premiere Editor the ability to change this background color, I can just take that property from my Premiere timeline and drag it and drop it in. And then I can call it whatever I want. So we'll call this background. And that now becomes a control that can be used inside of Premiere. When I choose to export this motion graphic template, this gives me some options of either saving a local file, or I can push this into a library. And this is very important. So libraries now support motion graphic templates. So with a motion graphic template in a library, I can work on my machine, put a motion graphic template in a library. I can share that library with editors. I can make it read-only for the editors so they cannot make changes. And so if you're working on a show and you need to keep the same style of graphic, you want to make sure everything meets the right guidelines, the motion graphic artist can have read-write control. The editor, read-only. So they can bring stuff in and they can make the changes that you've provided on screen, but they cannot make other changes. So I'll go ahead and save this to my library. And if I switch back over to Premiere, I have an example of this here. You can see here are the same controls as what we had over in After Effects. And this has some advanced controls. So like the graphic style here is something that I can actually switch between different options and see different graphic styles actually pop in based on what, I can provide some different choices for the producer. If I want to change the background image, the artist has created 11 approved backgrounds, and I can easily swap those out directly from within the Essential Graphics panel. And if I want to change that background color, I can just click on the color swatch here. Maybe we'll make that more of a gold color, and we'll see that update. So let's talk a little bit about Adobe Stock. Adobe Stock is really integrated into both After Effects and Premiere Pro for use with any projects that you might want to work with. You can use Stock for still images, graphics, as well as video clips. So one of the things that I can do here is go to my Libraries panel, and let's do a search on, I don't know, maybe Beijing. So I've done a search on Beijing. I could take one of these images and just add it to my project here. You'll notice this is showing me that it's going to go ahead and download this clip to my system. This is the watermark clip. I don't have to pay for watermark footage. I can use as much as I want. As soon as this finishes downloading, I can start adding it into sequences and begin working. When I'm ready to use this footage, I can click on this little shopping cart and license that through the Adobe Stock site, and it will instantly, well, not instantly, it has to download the file, but it will download the high-res watermark version or unwatermarked version, and will replace itself anywhere in the project that I'm working on. Now the other thing that we've shown is we now also have the ability to publish to stock. We know there's a lot of people out there that have extra footage. We want you to become a stock contributor. So we have stock contributors worldwide that are adding to the growing library of millions of files inside of Adobe Stock today. We'd love to see more people across Asia adding to the Adobe Stock library. And you can make money from footage that you may already have sitting on a drive somewhere. Well, that's all the time we have to kind of show some of this today. Really excited about this set of updates, the collaboration between the different tools. Really excited. And thank you again for having me for DV Asia.
Thank you very much, Karl.
Thank you.